Hello dear students, today we shall discuss the Gauss law. This is a very important law in electromagnetic field. So what is Gauss law? So it states that the total electric flux, it states that the total electric flux and let the flux be psi. So total electric flux psi through any closed surface is equal to the total charge enclosed by that surface. Okay, so if we represent it mathematically, so how can we write? So thus this total electric flux through any closed surface is psi, and this is equal to the total charge enclosed by the surface. So let Q ENC, ENC for enclosed, so let it be Q ENC, that is representing the total charge enclosed by that surface. Okay, so now how we can get this electric flux? So obviously this electric flux can be obtained by integrating the differential electric flux through the surface S. Okay, fine. Now what? How do we represent this? Okay, if we remind the surface charge density D, so this D was what? This D was your dq upon ds. So from here this dq can be written as d into ds. Okay, so if this is equal, so we can write it like this: d dot ds over the surface s. Okay, so now this is equal to what? This is equal to the total charge enclosed, and that is equal to q, and that is simply q, and this q is what? This is rho v dv. Like we write for this uh, surface charge density, similarly we have the volume charge density also. Okay, so this rho v, how do we represent this volume charge density? So obviously this rho v is dq upon dv. Okay, so whenever we need this dq, so we can write it rho v dv, and if it is rho v dv, then after integration this whole cube will become integration of the volume integral of rho v dv. So q equals to rho v dv. Okay, now since both are equal, this psi is equal to this and that is equal to q, and q is equal to rho v dv. So these two relations, they are equal, so we can write it, we can further write it. So this d dot ds equals to rho v dv. Okay, so let put it equation 1. So let it be equation 1. Now we have studied the divergence theorem. So this divergence theorem, if you recall, then what was it? It was the relation between the surface integral and volume integral. Okay, so using divergence theorem, using the divergence theorem, so if you recall the divergence theorem, what it was? D dot ds is equals to this del dot d into dv. Okay, so this term can be written as this using divergence theorem. Okay, so put it as this equation, sorry, put it as equation 2. Okay, So now comparing equation 1 and equation 2. Okay, so if we compare this equation 1 and equation 2, so here in the LHS it is d dot ds, in the RHS it's also a volume integral, and this is also a volume integral in both the equations. Okay, so what is then, if we compare, then what, this rho v will be equal to del dot d. Okay, so comparing equation 1 and 2, we have this rho v equal to del dot d. Okay, so this is a very important relation, and this is the first Maxwell equation. See, all the Maxwell equation is very important, and this one is the first Maxwell's equation. So this must be, this is very useful. It will be very useful in the latter part of the derivations and discussions. So what is the statement of this first Maxwell equation? It is the mathematical proof we have done. Now how do we define it? Let's see. So it states that we are talking of this first Maxwell equation. So it states that the volume charge density is the same as the divergence of the electric flux density. Electric flux density. So this D was your electric flux density. Okay. Now there are various applications of this Gauss law. Actually, through Gauss law, it would be easier to find out the electric flux density or electric field intensity due to all the charge orientations, that is point charge, line charge, surface charge or seat charge, or volume charge. Okay, so one by one we will see the application of this Gauss law, how it will help us to find the electric flux density or electric field intensity due to the different charge distributions. Okay, so one by one we are going to discuss. So the next part of discussion is this applications of this Gauss law. Okay, so first one is the point charge. First one is the point charge. Okay, so let us draw the coordinate axis. Let's say this is your y-axis, this one is your x-axis, and this is the z-axis. Okay, so x, y, and z-axis. Okay, so let us suppose a point charge is located at this point, that is origin. This is the point charge. Okay, and the point charge is located at origin. Okay, and we have to determine the electric flux density at any point P over here. Okay, so P is the point at which you have to determine the electric flux density due to this point charge kept at the origin. Okay, so obviously it will be directed along this, and if we later extend it, the direction of electric flux density will be in this direction. Okay, so let's say this vector is representing the electric flux density due to this point charge kept at the origin at point P. Okay. So to determine D at point P, it is easy to see that choosing a spherical surface. That's why I have chosen a spherical surface passing through point P. Okay, because if you have to apply the Gauss law, we have seen, okay, that the Gauss law, the definition of Gauss law, it is clear that electric flux through any closed surface, okay, is equal to the total charge enclosed by that surface. Okay, so whatever surface you are considering, that should be enclosed. It is the mandatory requirement or criteria for applying this Gauss law. Okay, so we are considering or choosing a spherical surface enclosing this point charge and passing through this point P, at which electric flux density is required to be obtained or determined. Okay, so now at this P point it will satisfy the symmetry condition. Okay, so let's say this D equals to dr AR. Okay, so we are representing it along this r vector direction. Okay, so now applying this Gauss law, applying the Gauss law. So what was that Gauss law? If you remember, this psi equal to charge enclosed. Okay, so what will this law, how can we apply this law here? So this Q will be d dot ds. Why we are encircling this integration? Because we are talking of the closed surface. Okay, that's why. Okay, so now this d is what? Dr here. So if you will put it, then dr can be taken out and the surface will be ds, the surface integral. Okay, now what is the integration of this surface? Because this surface is what? This is a sphere. Okay, a spherical surface we have chosen. And what is the total surface area of this sphere? So total surface area of the sphere, if you remember, this closed integral of this ds means the total surface area of this sphere. So total surface area of the sphere is 4 pi r square, because this was the radius r. Okay, so dr, and it is 4 pi r square. Okay, this is the value of integration. Fine. Now what is d? So this d is dr or d, whatever, is q upon this 4 pi r square ar. Okay, so this is a very simple derivation for this electric flux density using this Gauss law. Okay, so in this way we can find out for all other charge orientations. Okay, so for the infinite line charge we have already seen in the last class, but through Gauss law it is very easy to determine d. And if we determine epsilon e, suppose if we have to find the electric field, so d equals to epsilon e, epsilon naught e, and in that case only epsilon will come here and you will get the value of e also. Okay. So what is infinite line charge? We will see in the next topic is application of Gauss law for infinite line charge. Okay, so suppose the infinite line charge of uniform charge rho L coulomb per meter lies along the z-axis. Okay, so to determine D at point P, we have to choose the cylindrical surface. Okay, so let's see how we have to apply Gauss law to determine the electric flux density due to a line charge. Okay, so let's say we have the everything. For doing anything, we need the three coordinate axis first. Okay, then only we can proceed further to represent. So this is Z. Now we are assuming a line charge kept on z-axis. Okay, so we are assuming a line charge. Fine, and due to this charge, we have to calculate the electric flux density some point away. Let's say the point is P. Okay, so at this point you have to determine the electric flux density due to this line charge kept on the z-axis. So it is clear. Okay, and let us suppose this line charge is having the charge density of rho L coulomb per meter square. Sorry, it is line charge, so it is coulomb per meter. Okay, so rho L coulomb per meter is the line charge density. Fine. Now for applying Gauss law, we know that the mandatory requirement is that whichever charge element we are considering, that should be enclosed by closed surface. So if we want to enclose this line charge, so obviously which shape is favorable? So we will have to draw what? A cylindrical surface. Okay, and which would enclose it. Now this cylindrical surface would enclose it. Okay, so this cylindrical surface would enclose this. Okay, and one more thing was there, that this P point should, this surface should pass through the point also at which electric flux density is required to be calculated. So let us consider that this point is here. Okay, we have considered. Okay, and now for this line charge density, this will be acting in this direction. Okay, and the D will be acting in this direction. Okay, and let us suppose it is rho. Okay, and what is this? This one is your, this cylindrical surface is the Gaussian surface, because whatever surface you use to cover it or enclose it, that is called the Gaussian surface. Okay, so this one is your Gaussian surface. Fine. Now the electric flux density is constant, normal to the cylindrical surface. So in that case we have three surfaces: the top, the bottom, and the curved surface. So the flux density is constant, normal to the cylindrical Gaussian surface. So in along this curved surface we have the electric flux density D equals to what? D rho and A rho. Okay, so applying Gauss law to the arbitrary length of the line. Okay, if we want to apply the Gauss law to this arbitrary length of the line charge, then we know that what is Q? Q equal to rho L into L, and Q is also equal to this D dot ds, as we have seen earlier. Okay, so in that case In that case, it is equal to, since this D is acting along rho, so this one is D rho and this is ds. Okay. So what is ds? Now ds is what? This curved surface area of the cylinder. And what is the formula for curved surface area of the cylinder? This is 2 pi RH, we can say. Okay. So in this case we will write d rho and 2 pi. What is r? Radius is rho. And what is h? H is the length of this charge element. Okay. So this line charge, so 2 pi rho into L. Okay. Where this d, sorry, this small ds equal to 2 pi rho L, whatever I have written here, is the surface area of this Gaussian surface. Okay. So since this d dot ds evaluated on the top and bottom is 0. Okay. So since d has no component along this z, positive z or negative z, we have the only component along this curved surface, and that we have determined. So now what will be the value of this d rho? So this d rho or d will be simply this, if we write here rho L into L. So this L and L will be cancelled out. So d rho equals to how much? So d rho will be rho L upon 2 pi rho and along this area. Okay. So this is the electric flux density due to this line charge kept on the z axis. Okay. So it's simple to determine using Gauss law. Okay. Next we will see the third application is for the infinite sheet of charge. It's for infinite sheet of charge. Okay. So let us suppose an infinite sheet okay. Now the three coordinate axis, your x axis, your y axis, and this is the z axis. Okay. And this surface shown by yellow is the infinite sheet charge. Okay. So since this is infinite sheet charge, this one is the infinite sheet charge. Okay, and the charge density is rho s coulomb per meter square. So rho s coulomb per meter square is the charge density of this infinite sheet. Okay. Now before finding the flux density for this whole infinite sheet, we will assume a small element. Okay. So let us assume a small element over this. Okay. So So let this is the infinite. This shaded portion is the element, okay, over this infinite sheet. Okay, so to cover this sheet from top and bottom, what kind of Gaussian surface we have to assume? So obviously for covering this, let us suppose if you have to cover this box, sorry, this shaded portion. Okay, so you will have to assume one box cuboid at the top and one cuboid at the bottom also. Okay, so we are considering one box at the bottom also to cover this portion. So in this way we have covered this shaded yellow shaded portion of the sheet by the top and bottom surface. Okay, so in this case uh, the D will be acting in how many directions? At the top and bottom, because this sheet is having two faces, one acting along the top and another acting along the bottom. Okay, so one is acting along top, so this is also D, and one acting along the bottom, and this is also D. Okay, and let us suppose this area of this shaded portion is A. A is the area. Okay, and what is this? This one is a Gaussian surface. This one is the Gaussian surface, because the purpose of Gaussian surface is it should enclose the charge element completely. So in this case also, this top surface and this bottom surface is enclosed by cuboid shape. Okay, now how do we calculate this? Okay, so we have considered an infinite sheet of uniform charge density rho s coulomb per meter square and lying in z equal to 0 plane. Okay, so z equal to 0 plane means it is lying in the xy plane. If we say xy plane, or you can say z equal to 0 plane. So to determine D at point P, we have choose a rectangular box that has been cut symmetrically by the sheet of charge. Means it is covering, this rectangular box is covering from the top and the bottom also. Okay, so now let us proceed further. So as D is acting normal to the seat, okay, so D is acting along which direction? Z direction. So we can write D equals to, it is dz and az. Okay, now applying Gauss law, if we apply Gauss law, applying Gauss law, what will be obtained? So we have this rho s and the surface integral, that is rho s ds equals to q, and q is also equal to what? D dot ds. Okay, we have seen in the Gauss theorem. So now D is acting along two directions. Okay, one is top and another is bottom. So we can redistribute it, and D can be written as dz, and this surface can be further redistributed, that is ds along this top and plus ds along this bottom. Okay, so this ds is distributed along this top and bottom. Now since d dot ds evaluated on the sides of the box is 0, okay, along this side there is no components, along the sides of the box is 0, and if the top and bottom both have the area A, okay, this, if we consider from the top, it is in having area A. If we consider the below portion or bottom portion, again it is of area A. So in that case this ds top and ds bottom both will be of area A and A if we integrate it. Okay, so this will be dz into this A plus A. Okay, So this is equal to D plus A. So then what will be the value of D? D equals to, or dz equal to, and here it was rho s ds. So here also we can write rho s into A. Okay. So now what will the value of dz? Let me make it more clear. So here it is rho s into A equals to 2 times dz into A. Okay. So this A and A will be cancelled. So dz equals to, what is the value of dz? So this dz, or electric flux density due to this seat charge, dz equals to rho s upon 2. Okay, and the direction will be obviously az. So this is your dz. This is your electric flux density due to the seat charge. Okay. Now if we calculate the electric field intensity, so electric field intensity E equals to how much? E equals to, it is D upon epsilon. So if you will put here rho s upon 2 epsilon 0, and direction is az. So in this way we can calculate the electric field intensity also. Okay. So not only in this case, in the previous cases also, like for the line charge and point charge, by using this formula, if we have estimated D, there is no problem of estimating E. Equals to simply D upon epsilon 0. Okay. So in the earlier cases also we can determine like this. Fine.